Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Cowboys Takeover. I'm your host, Mr. Jason Kent. With me, as always, Mr. Aaron James. Aaron, it was a rough one. It was a rough Monday night. But we'll get to that. Outside of the Monday night, how was your week, bud?
Week was pretty good. In full holiday swing. Got to put that creamer in the coffee and let the Christmas music roll.
And you get them scented candles, man. You get them going in the house right now, bro. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's so nice. The Christmas tree, the first year we got it up early. My kids are like,
nice.
Especially my oldest, he really was about it. He wanted to get it done. We decorated a little bit. He wanted to go all out. So I was like, okay. So yeah, it's there. It's nice. It's getting cold. The weather yesterday, 63, raining, but 63. Today, 37. So, gut check. So
yeah.
The weather's not been kind, a lot of sickness now. But listen, it's a beautiful time of year. Not where we thought we'd be, but let's dive into this game. This Monday night game, man. When you look at it, when I look at this game, I think of there's two big plays, I think, when I look at this game. I think first the interception, because what really bothers me when I saw the interception in the red zone, that's actually the second time this season that he's just literally looked at CeeDee Lamb and he just tried and let it go, and that type of situations happen. So I don't know because to me, that play, I feel like when I see that play, that is more of you're looking for that quick out guy and you're setting a pick. So I don't know what it is, but that's the second time this season we've seen that type of interception, and it really bothered me, man. And with the way Rico was running this game, when we got down in the red zone, why are we just not feeding my man the ball? Like I have an issue with McCarthy play calling this game. I think it's a lot of that. Not putting them really, especially with how good Rico. I felt like they were really giving holes for him. And he was just, he's patient. You saw, he did have some cutbacks. So I think, the play calling in the red zone, I think was not responsible. And it was a poor look. And I just don't get it. You don't see that a lot but that's really the second really big one they just let go and CeeDee's running into guys. So to me, is that on CeeDee or is it that on Cooper Rush?
In that particular play, it's tough because it was like a slant route. So there's a lot of anticipation, as are many of these plays. But ultimately, you got to take care of the football. There's a lot of traffic. And
especially on that one.
Now, we did force a turnover on downs that drive and end up getting a field goal. But with a team as like the Bengals, who were a top tier offense, you just can't give them the amount of possessions, right? Because we would have taken that situation coming off of a 3 points or a touchdown, and that following drive. But yeah, to me, this game did come down to that red zone efficiency, because we still only came away with 2 other field goals. One was outside the red zone, but be that as it may, unable to get touchdowns at the end of the day. I thought that our defense was way too soft on Jamar Chase in coverage.
Dude, he was
whatever he wanted.
He really did. And if you'd have told me, he's dropping back that many times, I thought we had an advantage, but he was giving the business to both Diggs and Bland, man. The touchdown, the first touchdown on Bland, it was just when you're watching it, he let the ball go before Chase even broke. So it's almost impossible to defend that with that level of wide receiver quarterback play. The second one, he just got him good, and you can't let him hit that. But I agree with you. But to me, that's been a Dallas staple. They don't play press coverage really ever. They really sit off. They sit back, and I think that's what's contributed a lot to the Bland and Diggs interception numbers, because when they're off, they're able to break on that. So that's what. But it's also, we see what happens Bland is off. When he breaks, Jamar Chase just hits him with the move and goes for a touchdown. So
What's
good and the bad.
what's frustrating is that this is all counterintuitive because give Parsons at least 3 seconds. Like, you got to get out there,
Dude.
guys.
When the way, and when you had Lawrence, listen, and Overshawn sucks now, but he was able to get after the quarterback. You're absolutely right. Why are we not up on their press coverage, especially because Diggs is a bigger cornerback, man, and just disrupting these routes? But even it's 3rd and 7, and we're giving up 10 yards. 3rd and 2, we're giving up 5 yards. Like, they just don't. They've never played, and I just don't understand it. It's befuddling me, dude. I don't get it.
Yeah, time and time, Parsons was just right there within arm's reach of Burrow, and Burrow's getting it out because we're playing soft coverage, and that was very frustrating to see and disappointing to see from a Coach Zimmer perspective. So yeah, you got those inefficiencies. I mean, Dowdle had, I think, his best game. The offensive line, I think it was more of the defensive, the lack of defensive rushing than it was our offensive line. Although we got to, they came out there and those guys played motivated and strong. I actually thought while we could have done better with feeding Rico, especially once we know he's hot. I thought the play calling was actually quite good.
See,
from McCarthy, the routes, the gadget plays. Did you see that fake toss to Dowdle and it opened up Ferguson down the middle? That was very clean.
I like that, I like getting Turpin in the Wildcat. I thought that is a great. I would want to incorporate more of that because you have the option still to go to CD. And so if you're giving Turpin the ball and his option is a CD, people are probably looking at CD there. Like, let's be real. I love that. But to me, man, he's 30 or he's 16 to 33. Come on. He's not efficient that game. And you see Rico, whether it's the defense, how bad they were, or our offensive line, Rico was carrying the rock and he was breaking, big play after big play. So to me, I thought it was irresponsible, especially in a game that was so close going down the end, even early on, like that interception. To me, why are we throwing there? Like, let's feed him the ball. Let's get in there. Let's get closer. Let's get a touchdown. Let's rush. With how great he's averaged 7.7 yards a carry. Like, I get, but the dude was breaking off. He was not really being stopped that game. And the first guy was running through. So I was disappointed because he should have had more than 18 carries. There's no reason they should have attempted 14 more passes than rushing attempts that game. There's no reason for it. It was especially because Cooper Rush is in there. Like, it's not Dak Prescott. It's Cooper Rush. Come on.
Yeah, I see your point. And then when it comes down to the fluke play on the blocked punt.
Yeah, that was tough.
Very tough pill to swallow because we probably run it a couple times and effectively, by the way, and then get the chip shot.
Oh, yeah. And I would think they tell Rico, yeah, you don't score, go down 1,000%. Yeah, they're running the clock there. Aubrey, he's had a couple misses this year that were unexpected, but for the most part, the dude's been great. So yeah, you expect a win there. The one thing I thought is funny, the one thought that ran through my mind when I watched that, for the couple of years I did play football in high school, the one phrase my coach would always say, it was always, don't be Superman, be Batman. And it's very obvious. Like, Batman knows he can't leap tall buildings. He can't do it. So to me, that play right there, that's not what you do. That's not what you're out there to. I get you're trying to make a play. You're all like, let's be real. If you don't touch that, you're already in field goal range. You have to know that. So in that moment, I get he wanted to make a play, but you got to think about the team there. And I think it hurt, man. Yeah. Because at that point, your defense, you stopped them. You came up big. You got some sacks. Oh, it's tough to go back out there after that and
And
really be enthusiastic.
I really feel like I have to say that Jerry Jones got a lot of backlash for what he said after the game about, maybe we shouldn't be trying to block a punt right there or something along those lines. But what the media failed to realize and think about it in the light of what I think he was possibly trying to say is that we are very penalty prone in those situations. And there's a situation where like don't even where it's just all safe punt. Um, it's a safe punt call scenario where everyone's just kind of pressing the guys on the line, making sure it's not a fake. And you're playing it safe. You just want to get the ball back and do your thing.
I see what you're saying, especially there at 4th and 25 or something. What was it? It was ridiculous.
Mhm.
I understand. I understand the point. Maybe you set up, but come on. Come on.
And then if they get the ball back, if they don't even cross the first down, like they should change that rule. Like if you're gonna recover a block punt, let the ball should at least be a
Well,
first down.
see, no, it's not a block punt at that point. It's a fumble. He fumbled it. That's a fumble now.
Yeah, I guess.
That's the issue.
But
It's
in the spirit of a block punt, that it's a special teams play.
I get it. That sounds someone's taking that one tough. That's what that is. Someone's taking this
Yeah, I'm
loss
in there.
tough.
I'm changing the rules already.
That's what that is. He's taking that one tough. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. Because listen, that was a get you had it in the bag, really. You really did.
Mhm.
With the run game you had, it's very upsetting Rico didn't get a touchdown rushing. Yeah, you really like I don't see how they lose that there. That one was tough. Because like you said, you had opportunities and you were the better. Well, I don't know if you're the better team. I don't want to say that. Joe Burrow torched your defense. So
Yeah.
but you had every opportunity there to win. But needless to say, there's still another week. So when you move ahead to week 15 now, we do see the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. So this is a game where you see, they're 3-10. You're now 5-8. Positive note, you're 4-2 on the road. So you feel like Carolina being 2-5 at home, you feel like you got a real good shot here.
Mhm.
So when you look at this game, Aaron, when you look at it from Carolina's perspective, what do you see the keys for Carolina being? How can they pull out a victory this weekend?
Well, if you're Carolina, you're looking at the Cowboys rush defense, and we're fifth worst in yards per carry. Well, they themselves are 12th worst in yards per carry. So, but you're looking at that. Bryce Young has been playing in a different light the past couple games. He's playing with a lot of like swag and confidence, like he has nothing left to lose. He's already been benched and he comes back in. I think it was due to injury, but he's playing really efficient football. And when I was looking even before the Bengals game at the rest of our season, um, I was most nervous about this game. In our situation where we were looking to win out,
Really?
I thought this would be our trap game because you look at the Panthers took the Chiefs down to the wire.
They
They
did.
they lost by one. They played the Philadelphia Eagles very, very well, and should have had more chances to come out on top in that game. Uh,
Well, and it's
and
Chuba though. They got
yeah, yeah,
he's their I think he's been able to open it up for more. And Bryce, they did talk about how Bryce is seeing it. He's a couple plays last week against the Eagles. They mentioned he's just seeing the field a little bit better.
yeah. So they gotta ride the Chuba train, as they call it. And I don't know if DJ Moore or not DJ Moore. I think it's David Moore. Their number one wideout, but Thielen had 102 yards against the Eagles. Outside of the Eagles game, Bryce Young had 298 yards against the Bucks and 263 against the Chiefs. So
Not bad.
I think he's, probably going to end up in the high 200s against us. And if he is able to do that, and they are able to run the ball effectively, I think that puts them in good shape because they're not going to be really scared of our passing offense. Their passing defense is actually 12th in the league from a yards allowed perspective. So really, they just kind of need to hone in on the run and check in on CD, and they'll be in good shape. The over/under, by the way, is 43, and the Panthers are favored 2.5 points.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so last week I did hit the under. I did say I'd call the under to hit. This week I'm gonna take the over because I do. I think you're spot on with Carolina's keys for especially offensively. When you look at them, I think Thielen plays a big part. When he's doing well, that's when it seems Bryce Young's doing well. So they need to get him going. He's a guy you hope Bland and Diggs can shut down 38-year-old. He's probably not that old, but come on, the dude's like 12 years in the league now. He should not be. He shouldn't be doing this well. But the Chuba train, man, that kid. I didn't think he was going to be that good, and they paid him. He got paid this year, and he's been doing nothing but killing it. Miles Sanders is just really a complimentary back now. And the other guy that they drafted, man, he ended up tearing the same ACL he did in college last week against the Eagles. So it stinks to see him go down. But the other thing, man, too, is Carolina, you just don't know who they're throwing it to. They have 4 receivers with over 300 yards. No, I guess that's not a super lot, but when you have a dude like Bryce Young who, he's not going to be throwing the ball a lot, you can't really hone in on anyone. You may think, oh, maybe it's Thielen, but they really do get it around. So they have Xavier Leggett does lead their team. They do have Deontay Johnson, who was pretty good before. David Moore is in there. Jatavion Sanders, their tight end. And Chuba, they don't really have a guy that's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. But like you said, they're just going to hand the ball off to this guy. I think he gets 25 carries this game. If you're them, and that's what sets up the play action for Bryce. And then you have those receivers that can make some plays on the outside. And, Thielen's always reliable. So that's, if you're Dallas, you're kind of worried. I think, they did a decent job last week. And I think Cincinnati really didn't run the ball either that much. They just let Joe Burrow cook. But they're going to see a different running game this week. And I think Carolina, I think that's the big thing. You just hone in on that. Yeah. But from defensively, I think you just go, like you said, you kind of stop Rico. I think that's the thing. And you don't really think Cooper last week couldn't, he didn't really look impressive. Yeah, and like you said, with Carolina being the 12th ranked pass defense, you kind of, you go get the passer, kind of go get rush, because that offensive line is really not built that great. So when you look at it from Dallas's end, I think how do you go for a victory after last week? You're coming off this really tough defeat. Kind of looked at it defensively at the end there. They kind of just got ran over there. How do you rebound from this game, from that Cincinnati loss?
Yeah, I mean their mentality, right, is definitely changed, because their mentality last game was like keep playoff hopes alive. And that's really no longer the case anymore. And now it's just kind of go out there, play for each other. Micah was kind of like, I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do to hype these guys up for the next game. But that's really all you can do at this point. And Carolina's in the same boat. They've been playing well, but coming out with losses, and that could be demoralizing in itself. So I think these are both teams that, from a mental standpoint, probably I don't think anyone has the edge from a mental perspective. And the defense has really been the leading part of this group, especially with Dak out. We're kind of going to go where our defense leads us, whether that's keeping the low scoring game or taking the ball away. And with that said, the Panthers are second to last in offensive passing yards, and they really haven't had a good quarterback situation this year. But you might be surprised to hear that the Eagles are third, right behind them from the bottom in passing yards.
I'm not.
So Hurts hasn't really, and that's probably why there's a lot of friction between AJ Brown and Hurts, which we've been hearing a lot of noise on. But look, the Panthers, I think they're going to struggle against us, especially in man coverage. Between Bland and Diggs and even Jordan Lewis, no one really scares you on the offensive whiteout side. I think with Zimmer, and whenever you think of a newer quarterback in the league, someone with basically the amount of experience that Bryce Young has, you're going to try to throw him some curveballs and mix up some coverages and confuse him a little bit. And while Bryce is pretty mobile, I don't think any guys like Kendricks or Lafua, who's coming in for Overshown, right, is going to have any trouble tracking him down. So I think with the Cowboys, just kind of keep Bryce Young in check. Don't let the run game get away from you. I'm going to go under on this one because I think both teams are going to try to run the ball, and when that happens, the game clock just kind of bleeds away, and before you know it, you're at halftime.
See, here's my thought. I think you're right. Both teams are going to run.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina's worst in NFL in rush defense. I think you're going to see a couple. This could be a couple 175-yard, 200-yard running backs this week. But this could be some old school football here. Just big play after big play. Priest Holmes LT day. That's what you could be looking at with these rush defenses. So it could be a massive day. Like if you're Dallas, I think you're right. You do got to run the ball, especially after what you saw last week. You saw against a team that has a bad run defense. You can do some things, and you only gave him 18 carries. You averaged 7.7 yards carry. So I think this week against the worst rush defense in the league, I think you got to give the kid 25 carries after what he did last week. After the way you lost, I think Cooper Rush has shown he's not the guy he was that took us 4-1 a couple years ago. He's just not that guy. He's that's why he's a backup, and this is why. He's not the best decision maker. You see it. So let's not put the pressure on him. This week you need to see Rico just carry the ball. On the back end, it really does hurt. I hate the fact that Overshown's hurt again. He's probably gonna miss the rest of the year. It just feels like we can't catch a break with linebacking, especially the middle linebacker, no matter who it is, from Sean Lee to Van Der Esch, Overshown. It just we can't keep him healthy. So prayers go out. Hope he can get a good recovery, but it's not. It's tough. Two injuries.
Everything that ends with the letter L, he tore in his knee.
Yeah, so it's not. Is that the same knee from last year too?
I don't know if it's the same knee, but it was due to the collision.
Was it?
Yeah, that a player kind of fell onto his lower leg and caused for that. So I think that's better than the non-contact, right? Because then everything is just kind of
just structurally not right.
Yeah,
you're probably right there. But
I'm guessing,
hey, the logic sounds perfect. It sounds good, so I like it. But because I was excited, man. He was a guy that looked like he was going to be a guy, especially that type of injury this late in the season. You wonder, does he make it back? How early can he play next season? Because he looked like a dude, man. When he's out there against neighbors, I think those plays, you just see his explosiveness, his just athletic ability from the middle linebacker position was up there with some of the real, guys like Fred Warner. But that just shows the different level of a guy like Fred Warner, his ability to stay healthy and that good for years. Nova Sean's just not catching a break, but you still want, I think you want to get after Bryce Young. You kind of want to blitz and kind of hit those run, and I think when I think blitz, I think run blitz, going to stop the run. And then if there is those play actions, you're right there for Bryce Young. I think that's what you got to do. You really got to focus on Chuba. I don't think any of these receivers can really beat you. You shouldn't, I guess they're not Jamar Chase. Okay. I get it. You put last week behind us. I think we're going to do a little bit better against Xavier Leggett and Adam Thielen. That's just my thought, And they don't throw to the running back. Chase Brown had a big game out of the backfield last week. This isn't a team that really throws to the running back. So I think if you're Dallas, man, I think you got to be excited. I can't believe Carolina's favored because I don't think Bryce Young is that much better than Cooper Rush. And I get he's the number 1 overall pick, but we see a dude down in Houston drafted later in that draft who's showing what guys do. Come on.
Well, I think their previous games, like I mentioned, it was carrying a lot of stock with them with how they competed against the Bucks, Chiefs, and Philly. They were in each of those games.
You're still 3-8. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get you play tough sometimes, but you got to look at the other end. Sometimes people do play down to their competition. We've seen that time and time again in the NFL. They got blown out by the Los Angeles Chargers 26-3. They got blown out by the New Orleans Saints 47-10. Okay. By the Chicago Bears put 36 up on them. So I get they were in those other games, but let's remember that the Washington Commanders beat them 40-7. So they're exactly who we think they are.
Look, I do think Rico's going to do well. In fact, I think Rico's going to do well the remaining games we have on our schedule. And it makes me nervous because I think it might sway Jerry Jones not needing to bring Zach Martin back.
Oh, that's a good point. But listen, I think if you lose Zach Martin, it's tough. But
you save a lot.
I'd rather. I want to see this kid do well because if he does well, we found ourselves a running back, and you may not have to because everybody said they're going. You hear a lot of Genty. I don't know who else out there outside of him. There's a kid from Arizona State. I don't know if he's a first round guy or not, but I want to. They need to find that guy, and I want to see. I don't get why they're still. Rico's proven he can be. I just don't know why we're giving him the carries. They're not giving him enough, and I don't understand why.
We still need a strong number 2 back, but if you gave me the choice, I would say let's look for either via trade or best available for a better number 2 wide receiver. And it's really because I don't think Cooks can last a healthy season anymore.
I feel like Cooks just catches touchdowns at this point. Just put him in there at the red zone. But no, I think they do need a number 2. But they're going to need a lot. I think a lot depends on what happens with Martin. You don't know. So I don't know if a wide receiver right now too, with how much you're paying wide receiver 1 and quarterback, and if you want to keep Micah, is really it feels like that would be a luxury at this point that they can't afford.
Between I think it's 17 for Zach and about 20 or 50. That 2015 range for D Law, those two basically make up Parsons' new paycheck.
Yeah, you're right. Listen, if you're Dallas, I say you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You try to trade up and go get Travis Hunter. So now you drafted a wide receiver and a defensive back. So you can let Diggs go.
I don't know. I think Travis Hunter's too small for the NFL.
Listen. Darrell Green was 5'9", dude. I'm not saying he's going to be Darrell Green, but I'm just saying. Listen, I don't watch. I haven't watched one of his games. I don't know how good the kid is. He looks good on the highlights. He's going for a Heisman. But listen, if you're Dallas, you have a lot of needs. That's all my point is. You have a lot of needs in the kid. Maybe the kid can play quarterback too, punt return. Get Turpin out there. But looking at it, you'd like to lose out. I want to see McCarthy. I want a high draft pick. I want to see McCarthy gone. So I do hope, I want Dallas I would like them to lose because they're not making playoffs at this point. But prediction time. Mr. Aaron James, how do you see this Sunday, 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. matchup going?
Yeah, so I have a low scoring game, and I'm going with the under. I say Cowboys win 2017.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was the over under again? You said it was like 40 what?
43.
Okay. I'm going the over. I think Rico gets 200 plus yards. I'm betting Rico over rushing. I'm going 3 touchdowns. I say Dallas wins 34-31 in a very high. You're going to see one of the highest rushing games this season because I think Chuba is going to have a good week too.
Wow. Okay.
I think that you could see like 400 overall rushing yards this game.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some bad rush defense here because both teams know what's going to happen. Watch. It's going to be, Bryce Young and Cooper Rush can combine for like 700 passing yards. Or it's going to be 3-0. One or the other,
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you hope that at this point as a fan, it hurts to say you hope they lose, but I really think you have to see. I'd rather get a better draft pick. I feel like as a fan, you really want McCarthy going. But I just don't see him losing to Carolina. They're not good.
Right.
I just, even with all of Dallas's injuries and where they're at, I just still think they're a better team than Carolina. So I do think Dallas pulls it out. So that's it for this week. We really, really appreciate everyone for checking us out. It's tough getting through these shows this season, especially when you're expecting a 14-3 season. To know that you probably aren't going to finish with a winning record. But you probably get to 6-8 this week. So really, you got to be happy. Again, you want to see how Rico progresses. I'd like to see that type of stuff. And I think, this season, I'd like to really see Trey Lance in a few games now. You're out of it. You really kind of seen, I think, the limit of Cooper. Maybe get some Trey Lance in there. Maybe you'll see it this weekend. But Mr. Aaron James and myself both expect wins. Appreciate you all. We'll be back next week with our post game and our pregame for the following week. Thank you all. If you're watching us on the Cowboys podcast, Cowboys Takeover Network, podcast, Cowboys Takeover Podcast on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Ring the Bell Podcast on YouTube, or Facebook page, all of them. We really appreciate it. Or Twitter, wherever you're watching us. And here, we're live. We're back again live next week, next Thursday, 8:15, same time as always. Appreciate you all. Let's go Cowboys. See you guys later. That's a weird one.